Okay, so it's time for another hunt story, guide story, crazy story. And I've teased everybody about this one for a while, and I'm in between monsoon showers right now, up in the mountains, in coastal British Columbia, hunting black-tailed deer, and it's really sucking bad. The wolves have absolutely annihilated everything for the last 3 years, and it's getting really frustrating. As an example of the frustration, I think I'm on day 16 of hunting what was some of the best deer hunting I've ever experienced in my life, and I've seen 2 deer, and that's it. So, weather's got something to do with it as well. It's mild. There's no snow when normally it should be, but still, I could find a pile of deer by now and film them at least anyway. Get them on trail cameras or something, but it's just not happening yet. So I'm going to take this little break to share this absolute crazy story of mine that happened. It was over 10 years ago anyway. I think, yeah, somewhere around there, 10 years ago or something, maybe 11. And it was the September 1st to 10th hunt, which is for us in this northern side Alaska highway, very remote. It's a 10-day elk season only because the Ministry of Environment figures there's not that many elk where we are. It's just in the fringe of where they're starting to repopulate. So we only got 10 days. And I had this guy, as a new guy, never met him before, and from what I understood was he had inherited a pile of money through family, and he was going on a big game hunt. And he was alone, and let's just say his name was Doug from southern Georgia, okay? And seemed like a decent guy. Nothing seemed abnormal at all. Got off the plane, and he told me what tags he had. He had a moose, elk, and probably had a caribou tag, black bear tag, wolf, the usual stuff we'd hand out to them without any specialty items like grizzly, goat, or sheep. He had an elk and a moose tag, and he did not care which one was. He didn't have a priority species. He just wanted to do a big game hunt, have the best time he could, and hopefully get a decent buller of either species or both. I'm like, all right, let's go. So I'd known where there's a bachelor group of bulls up in this high basin. So I took him up there right away because I wanted to get the moose down as quick as I could and concentrate on the elk. And because typically it's like a 2.5 hour ride from my camp one way just to get to one of the better elk hunting spots. So we went up to this one high basin right away, first day of his hunt. So they flew in, slept overnight, got up in the morning, saddled up, and rode up into this range of mountains. Probably about an hour from camp or so, hour and a bit, but you're hunting the whole way. And I tied up the horses in the appropriate spot, got him, and we went on foot. We went up over top of this rise where I could look down into the throat of this basin, which is right at timberline. And sure enough, here's these 3 or 4 bulls sitting there, and the bigger one that I was hoping to find was laying there, and his velvet had just stripped off, and his pans were bright white, really bright, standing out like a sore thumb. And we did a little bit of a belly crawl because we were skylined with that blue sky. So any animal's going to see, even though, moose's eyeballs aren't that great, they can see you. So we belly crawled over top of the rise, got down a little lower, so we had bush behind us, got him sat in the prone position. I believe it was about a 250-yard shot all the time in the world. And the bull stands up. I got the bull to stand up. I cow called a bunch of times. And finally the bull stands up. He's broadside. And I'm videotaping, actually. I've got this video somewhere. With an old high 8 tape video, the old video camera. And he starts teeing off on this moose. Boom! And a whop! And I hear the bullet hit him. And I'm watching, and I'm like, okay, he's not falling over yet. Okay, shoot him again. Shoot him right behind the shoulder. Take your time. Boom! Whop! Hits him again. I'm like, I guess hold on a minute, he should fall over. I can't tell where the bullets are hitting. I can just hear that plunk. It's like the watermelon plunk sound. He's hitting them. And then the bull's nuts. He's just standing there. I'm like, what the hell's going on, right? Hit him again. Boom! Whop! Hits him again. Then he kind of turns like this and slowly starts walking away. And I'm like, what the hell? And I don't have a rifle with me. I actually have a shortened shotgun, 12-gauge shotgun in the scabbard on my saddle. It's my saddle gun for this particular hunt. I'm not hunting grizzly bears or anything. don't need any backup shots or anything. So I just got my shotgun. And then, otherwise I might have teed off in this thing and dropped it as well. But, and I go, how many bullets you got left? And he goes, now remember this point for the story. Because I said, how many shells do you got left? And he said to me, I got 4. And he goes back to looking at the moose. Well, no, I got 2 with powder in them. And that's sort of, I'm like, 2 with powder in them. Didn't think too much of it. Remember that. So the bull's starting to stumble away, and I'm like, holy crap. I go, let him have it. Shoot him. Take your time and shoot him in the shoulder. Boom. Nothing. I don't know how many times this guy shot. Maybe 4 or 5 times. A little ridiculous. And off the bull goes slugging his way into the spruce trees. I'm like, oh, he should be dead. Laying in there dead. So I got to get going on with the story. It's a long one if I go into every single detail of the whole hunt, but I'm sure everybody's going to be curious about how the bull went. So we go back to the horses, rode all the way down to that throat, tied up, looked for blood, couple drops, not much, and started walking up to the timber, and all of a sudden this great big wounded bull stands up probably 3 yards from, like right there, closer to the camera than I am to the camera. Stands up right in front. I'm looking up at it. And I have my shotgun with a slug in it, so I just up and thumped him with a 12 gauge slug. And that thing actually went clean through him, right in his shoulder. Poof. You see a little fine blood spray coming out of both sides of him. Falls over. So I got the moose. So it was early enough and close enough to camp. We rode back to camp, got the other saddle, got the pack horses, got the wrangler, and took him up, grabbed the moose, rode it back to camp. And because I wanted to hurry up and get my ass out of main camp and go spike camping with this guy, and I want to get a big elk. Because I'm pretty excited about that. I only get that 1 10-day season for elk, and that's it. And all the rest is, moose, sheep, grizzly, and whatever else. But you kind of want to have a good elk hunt. So off we go. I grabbed 1, 2, 3, I don't know, I had 3 or 4 horses, 2 saddle horses, I had like half a dozen horses, and this guy. I'll try to hurry up. And then we go riding off to these other valleys where there's some good elk, and made a spike camp. I had built a drift fence earlier down the creek throat where it tightens right up. If you're not familiar with what a drift fence is, it's a fence that we put across the valley where the horses can run past us and run all the way back to camp, because there's more horses back at main camp, and that herd mentality, and they're like, what's going on? We don't want to stay here all night, right? And that can really suck for the wrangling in the morning if you wake up and the horses have gone. So I had a drift fence down there, real nice little camp, and right away we started hunting, elk hunting. And I had called up a bull that evening, and it was a 7x6, decent bull, nothing ecstatic for what I know runs around there. Videotaped it. I think I can find the videotape of this bull, the exact same tape I'm talking about, and include it in the video here. And then this guy seems totally cool. There's nothing alarming, nothing disturbing, nothing annoying about him. Seems like your average guy. And then the next day we went out again, saw a big grizzly bear up on a slope. I remember that. I think I might have this in a video. If I do, I'll include it. And then we rode all the way up to the height of land to this other side of Southern Valley where we've typically found some big mature elk, and straight over the top, straight down, here's a great big hammer bull. And this guy starts teeing off on it. 200-yard shot. And he's flinging bullets all over the place. And he's missing, missing extremely. And that didn't go down too well. So we didn't get that bull. Ride back to our spike camp. And now he's starting to feel a little more desperate, and he's not overly, because I had him pretty jacked up about the elk hunt. Because I like to tell my guys, we're going to get what you're after, but if you listen to me and pass up on some decent animals, we'll get a big, old, huge monster, prime or past his prime bull, one that you want to put a tag on. Now he's like, I'd take that first bull we saw. First off, I only got a few bullets left, man. And I'm like, all right, whatever. So we went up another draw, and the day 4, day 5, whatever it was, went up another draw, got this bull screaming at me from up in this thick, choked, timbered valley. Then out comes this bull, legal bull, and it turns out it was the same bull that I videotaped earlier we passed on. And it was a 7x6, I think it was, and he smashed it. It was like 100 yards away, and I videotaped that kill too. I might have it. So we dumped the elk. Cool, I got him on video saying it's the best time she's ever had. What more I could ask for, blah, blah, blah. We go over to the elk, take the pictures. And here's a funny moment. When I was caping and quartering up the elk, all of a sudden you could hear this weird sound just up behind us. And this is thick. We're in a thick burn, thick slope like this, creek bottom. Our horses are tied up over here. And I can hear this weird sound from the direction of the horses. I'm like, what the hell is that? And it was just this it's just a weird sound. And the hunter goes, man, I think that's a truck. Sounds like a truck used on the Alaska Highway. We can hear from the Alaska Highway from here. I'm like, yeah, no, you can't hear from the Alaska Highway from here. And I'm like, oh shit, that's a grizzly bear. Follow me. Because we got elk scent going that way. We're in a thick burn. If a bear busts out with us on this elk, it's gonna be 8 feet away, 10 feet away, it's that thick. So I go, follow me. So we jump down to the creek, run straight up the bank, and I'm looking back behind us. And here's our horses tied up on the trees, and my horse is going with his lead rope tied on trees. He's going around the tree and tightening up, and then untightening, and wrapping around and untightening, and he's dancing around like crazy. And here's this sow and 3 cubs right there, standing there with the horses looking at him. Sow grizzly bear. I'm like, holy shit. So I guess the sound we heard was the bears growling at the horses as they were coming into the scent of the elk, which was just past the horses. That's another thing too. I always strategically tie up the horses downwind of the kill when we're processing it. So I ripped a couple rounds over the sow's head because she was only a couple 100 yards from us, I guess. I ripped a couple rounds over her head, and the bears took off. And then we got our elk out, got back to camp, our spike camp. Stayed that night, got up in the morning. Then we got back to camp. Yeah, so we got the elk back to camp. I got it all hung up and caped out. And it's the next morning. Yeah, it's the next morning. Wake up. We got nothing to do. We're tagged out. It was a great hunt. We got a 52-inch bull. Got a nice 7x6 bull elk. And how at my campus storage, I got 3 trees about this big. So I got a tree here, and a tree here, like a little triangle in front of me. And I notched out 3 notches in the trees, and then I made a stick that was notched out that would fit in those notches. 2 sticks here, and then I filled it up and unfolded the table, so it's actually a table. So I had our propane cooking stove on top of that, all the cutlery, and it's a working table. It's great. And this guy's sitting on a log behind me, and he's just rambling, like he's babbling. And I got my back to him, and he's an alright guy. He wasn't like somebody definitely wasn't somebody I'd be best buddies with, that's for sure. We didn't hit it off, long-term friend-wise, but he's rambling away. He had a 6-pack of beer, I think. 'Cause I remember him saying, hey, I'll die off your beer, but I only got a 6-pack. I'm like, I'm good, buddy. And he's changing. He's rapidly changing. His demeanor's changing. His character's changing. His tone, the way he's speaking's changing. And I'm kind of thinking, what the hell's going on, man? He must be one severe lightweight. He's only been drinking a couple of beers, and he's starting to lose the plot here. And I'm just cooking up some breakfast for us. So I got my back to him. And I'm not talking back to him. I'm not encouraging him to speak because he just starts talking random shit. And then the stuff that started coming out of his mouth was absolutely alarming and unbelievable. He's going on about sleeping with his buddy's baby sister, and her name was Jeannie. And me and Jeannie are riding around on a Harley buck naked in town. We do that crazy shit all the time. Hell yeah. My wife wouldn't say anything, man. She knows I got the money. She wouldn't leave me. F her. And he's rambling on nonstop. Just this dirty shit's flying out of his mouth nonstop. I'm cooking away going, what the hell's going on, man? Holy shit. This is exactly what he said. He goes, man, I used to be addicted to cocaine. Yeah, I remember being in a hotel one time, getting an 8-ball delivered to me every afternoon. I'd be sitting there with my handgun so paranoid thing was going to come through that door and I was going to have to shoot my way out, man. I do meth now, meth, that cocaine kept my weight down. I do meth now, meth's a lot better for you. Hell, best thing my kids ever seen was me and the boys doing crank down the houseboat. That's the best thing my children ever seen is all these drugs and us doing this shit. They'll never do this shit. And he's rambling. That's exactly what he's doing. He's just rambling, running his wife into the ground, going on about hookers, coke, going on about the in-law, the father-in-law, how he had shit on him for being tied up with a funeral service, and this guy's a cop, apparently sheriff, going on about him in a funeral service, and he won't do anything to him because he's got dirt on him for getting rid of bodies for somebody, and just a bunch of this random shit is coming out of this idiot's mouth. But the most alarming part and upsetting part was the way he was speaking about his children and the drugs that he was doing. The way he ran his wife into the ground and how intimidated she was of him and how she would never speak up because it was just the most disgusting display. I didn't speak to him, acknowledge he was speaking once. I went back to him, hoping to God he's going to shut up. By the time I threw some food at him, I was grinding my teeth so bad, I was just like, this thing needs to be put down and put away. This humanoid, you can't even call him a man. This guy wasn't a man. He was an absolute dirtbag. And I just could not wait to get away from this person and get him out of here. And I felt so bad. I probably didn't go into enough detail of the filthy shit that he was sharing that was coming out of his mouth. Clear enough or enough. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. It doesn't really matter, but trust me, this person was a very, very dark soul. Very dark. And he knew it, and he had no problems with it. He was almost talking like he was proud of it. And when I look back now, I almost think, man, that poor family, they would have been so much better off if I could have just put him in a hole up in the middle of nowhere here and rode out of the mountains and left him there. But obviously you can't really do that, right? So, this is where it gets really fun. So we ride back into camp. I think he had a small bottle of whiskey now too that he pulled up. So I kept glancing back over my horse, and he's back there behind me, and I'm leading the horse, the antlers, and all the meat and shit. And he's just rambling to himself, talking shit. It's probably like 1 in the afternoon now, 2 in the afternoon. So we get into camp, and the other guide's there. His hunter was a superb gentleman, 73, 74-year-old guy, Jerry Jorgensen, I think, farmer from Michigan or Minnesota. One of the great guy. I think it was Jerry. I might be getting his name mixed up with some other hunters, but he was just a true gentleman. And we actually exchanged Christmas cards a few times for a few years after that. Great guy. And a true gentleman, it's like your grandfather, like the best guy on the planet sitting there in the cabin when we get back. And the other guy in the Wrangler helped me unpack all the horses, and we're hanging up the quarters off the meat pole for the bush plane to come and grab. And I didn't have the hide off of the quarters yet, because I remember maybe 2 of them, because I remember the other guide in the Wrangler were standing at the meat pole skinning these quarters off. And all of a sudden I hear this yelling coming out of the cook shack. And there's a cook in there as well. And I go in there, and this sack of shit is buckled over this gentleman, buckled over him, being intimidating, like some absolute coward scumbag would in a bar or a pub or something, coming up to somebody and leaning over the chair, sneering and yelling at him, going, "Where's my genie? You stole my picture, my genie. It was right there, you son of a bitch." And that's how he's speaking to this gentleman. And I guess what he was getting at was he had a naked photograph of his little trollop with him that she gave to him, and apparently he left it on the window by his bunk in the cabin. And I come in there, always trying to keep the peace. I said, "Hey man, what are you doing, Doug?" I go, "Settle down. What are you doing?" "He stole my picture. I know you fucking stole my picture, man. He stole my picture. I want it back." I'm like, "Nobody stole your picture, and this is a place where good things happen. This is a happy place, so settle down. Just get out of the cabin here and go look in the other cabin. I'm sure you're going to find your picture." And the poor gentleman's like, No, I didn't take your picture. I didn't take your picture. And he's looking, obviously, threatened. And I want to grab this guy and rip his face off about now. And then back then, back then I was just guiding for a living, and it's not that easy to make on. I remember this guy, in the very beginning of the hunt, I had a bunch of wolf teeth from the skull that I found. He goes, "Hey man, you get me a good bull and elk, you give me a good elk and a moose, and I'll trade some of those wolf teeth for this brand new Rolex." And I'm like, deal, right? Wolf teeth for a Rolex, moose and elk, that's an easy no-brainer. So I'm still thinking, I want to get that Rolex. But it wasn't that important. So get him outside, and then I went to the cabin. I went to our cabin. I'm looking, I'm like, your stupid picture's probably in the stupid cabin. And his picture was actually on the floor underneath his bunk. So I grabbed it, I go, here's your stupid duck, here's your picture. All right? All right? Grabs his picture, and then I went into the cook shack to apologize to the gentleman, and I told him, I don't know what this guy, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with this guy, but I'm sorry, I apologize. This doesn't happen here. This has never happened here ever before in the history of ever in guiding here. And I look out the cook shack cabin, and he is now standing a foot away from our 18-year-old Wrangler and the other guide, and he's going, you guys want to go? Let's go. Let's go. Come on. I'm going to kick everybody's ass. Everybody. Like this, right? I mean, this guy's like weighs probably $170, 5'11", greasy little frickin' sack of shit. And, you know, the 18-year-old Wrangler's going, I don't want to fight you. I don't want to fight you. I'm just skinning this alcove. You know, he's getting all intimidated. The other guy's kind of staring like, holy shit. And I'm watching this, and I'm just kind of leaning against the wall at the cook shack cabin watching him. I'm like, hey, Doug, nobody wants to fight you, man. Settle down. Like, what are you doing? This is a happy place, okay? Like, settle down. What are you doing? What's wrong with you? And then he goes, oh, yeah, who wants to go? I'll fight anybody, any one of you sons of bitches. And then he spins his ball hat around backwards, and then he goes, let's go. And he looks at me, he goes, let's go, MFer. Let's go, Mr. Tough Guy. And then he said, he goes, yes, be Southern Georgia Octagon rules, boy, let's go. Southern Georgia Octagon rules. And I'm looking at him, and I'm envisioning knocking the living crap out of him. I'm like, oh my God, I want to kill this guy so bad. I just want to beat his ass and put him under a rock, right? And I'm leaning up, and I had some nail clippers, I'm clipping my nails. And I'm like, Doug, nobody's here to fight you, right? Nobody's going to fight you. This is a good place, okay? Let's settle down. Quit acting like an idiot. And then he comes walking over to me, like this, right? He's come walking up, and he gets his face in my face, and he goes, let's go, boy. Let's go. Let's go, me and you right now. Like this. And I'm like, you know, I've never, I don't claim to be a tough guy, but I can definitely handle myself and defend myself if need be. And I've never walked away from a sack of shit like this in my life. And I'm just looking at my nails, and I go, Doug, nobody's here to fight you, all right? Just settle down, walk away. And he goes, and then what the hell did he say to me? He goes, no, let's go, let's go. And then he comes up, and he's 2 inches off of my nose. This little greasy sack of shit who just belittled this gentleman, ran his wife into the ground, bragged about all the drugs they do in front of his children to me the day earlier, is now 2 inches off my nose, and he goes, what'd you do my shit? And I'm like, what? What'd you do my bullets? What'd you do my bullets, MFer? What'd you do? I know you took my shit. You're the only one who knew about my shit. You give me my shit. Can you imagine what's going through my brain as I'm listening to this greasy sack of crap? Now he's accusing me of stealing, I'm guessing the shit was his drugs. Now he's accusing me of stealing his drugs. And then he said, you're the only one that knew about my bullets, my shells. And what'd you do with my shit, right? Then the light bulb goes off. Day one, shooting the moose. I got 4 bullets left. I got 4 shells left. Only 2 powder. Remember that? I'm like, oh, no way. No way, you greasy little maggot. There you go. You smuggled crystal meth over the border in your shells instead of gunpowder, you greasy sack of crap. Get the hell away from me. Get the hell away from me. And he goes, you get the hell away from me. And then he touched me. And then I'm like, all right. All right, this is it. I go, okay, fine. All right, let's go. Let's do this. Let's do this. And he's go, that's what I'm talking about. Let's fuck it. He's like, that's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Let's go, big boy. Like this, right? And now I'm like, okay, I'm going to kill him. So I go, get over there by the other cabin. Because there's a woman in the cook shack. And I go, and there's no window at the back of her cabin. So I open up the door, I go, stay in here no matter what. And then I go, get up between the cabins. I'll see you right there. I'm going to hand your ass between the two cabins. Get over there, you little dirtbag. And then I looked at the Wrangler, and I said, hey, go into our cabin and get every single weapon out of there, every single firearm, every single knife. Get them out of there and go put them underneath the bunk of the cook in the cook shack. Do it right now. So the poor Wrangler goes and gets all the guns. He's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then numbnuts, he's standing there between the two cabins, and there's horse shit and mud around, and he flips his shoes off, and he's in his bare feet, and he's rolling up his sleeves, puts his hat on backwards, and he's squaring up. So let's go, boy. Let's go, boy. And Wrangler comes back, tells me all the stuff's under the bunk, and I'm like, okay. And then I looked at this little sack of crap standing there in his bare feet in the horse shit, high as a kite, squaring up. And don't get me wrong, I would have loved to have knocked this guy's head off. I would have loved it. But you know, I'm at one of the most world-renowned outfits ever. International award-winning outfitter numerous times. And I'm about to beat the shit out of a customer. You know, like that's, you know, you gotta kind of catch yourself. But I went into the cabin first and take a look around to make sure there's no weapons in there in case something weird happens, whatever, just keep everybody safe. And I come back, and as I'm going to the cabin, I look around, and a lot of hunters bring bear spray with them, and they always leave it because you can't fly with it, so we got bear sprays all over the place. We're gonna use that shit. And then I started laughing at myself because I'm like, oh, bear spray. Oh, we're supposed to use bear spray when something's threatening our lives. And I usually always clown around, you know, I'm usually pretty serious on my videos on YouTube here, but it's usually comedy hour. And so I grabbed the bear spray and I come back outside, and the other guy in the Wrangler standing here and the scumbag standing right there. I said to the boys, I go, fellas, this is a can of bear spray. Now we're supposed to use a can of bear spray when something's threatening our lives. Now watch this. I'm going to show you guys what to do with this. And I flicked that little piece of plastic off of it, and I got it, and I faced a little sack of shit. And he's going like this, going, don't you be spraying me now. Don't be spraying me now. Don't you be spraying me. Like this, right? And I'm looking at him, and then you just see this worthless sack of crap. So I just kind of grabbed him and winged him into the wall of the cabin. And I was pretty angry. And I said a few choice words to him. And then I told the boys, I said, he does not get 1 ounce of respect from us, period. He doesn't even get a glass of water. He's not allowed in a cabin. He is not allowed anything. And then I went into the cook shack, got the satellite phone, and I phoned back to the main ranch house and told him what happened to come and get this pile of crap. And he said he couldn't fly until the next morning. Like, oh, great. So I went to the cook shack, told the cook specifically, I said, this thing does not get any respect from us, period. Not even a glass of water. You're not to give him 1 ounce of food, nothing. And she's like, oh my God, are you serious? And I go, nothing. This guy gets nothing. He's lucky to be alive. And then I apologized to the other hunter, the gentleman hunter again. And then this guy's just stumbling around. I want some food. Y'all not gonna feed me, huh? You ain't even gonna feed me? And I go, I'm gonna feed you a knuckle sandwich. That's about all you're gonna get in this camp until you get out of here is a knuckle sandwich. That's it. The choice is yours. Whatever. And then he's off down by the creek and walking around and shit. And we had anything, like, again, I had everything and anything that could harm someone. I had it out of that cabin. No knives, no guns. And then hidden under the cook's bunk. And then that night, you could hear him on the porch. And he's like, you know, I'm not going to let me in there, are you? I'm like, nope, you're a dog. Sleep like a dog. Then what happened? I didn't sleep a wink, obviously. I'm not going to sleep a wink when you got this psycho junkie sack of shit who's threatening everybody in camp. I'm not going to fall asleep. There's no lock on the door of a cabin, right? So get up in the morning, and he's acting all, well, he's pretty messed up. It's a long night for him. And then the pilot flew in early, the outfitter. And we have a mail pouch that goes out in the mail with everybody, it's always on the wall if you need anything, or a note or letters or whatever mail, you put it in the mail pouch, and it always goes out with the pilot. So I took the bolt from this guy's rifle and I put it in the mail pouch to give to the pilot, the outfitter. When I took him aside, we spoke about what went down. And then Numbnuts is packing his shit up and flying him out of here. And then get this one. I could see him. He goes into the cabin to say goodbye to the cook or whatever he was doing. Went up to the other hunter gentleman and he goes, man, did I really do that to you? Did I really do that to you yesterday, man? I'm sorry. I didn't. I can't believe I did that. I apologize. And he's talking like this to this guy, right? And then he comes up to the Wrangler and goes, man, I really trying to fight you? Was I really trying to do that? And the Wrangler's like, yeah, dude, you're an idiot. Man, I'm really sorry about that, man. And then I'm off to the side. And that sack of crap comes walking by me and he goes like this. I still think you took my shit. And then he walks away and goes to the plane. Oh my God. Well, there you go. How's that for an embarrassing, disgusting, gross story? A hunter smuggled crystal meth into Canada over the border in his shells instead of gunpowder and decided he needed to get high as a skunk on crystal meth. You know, at one point he even said, he goes, man, boys aren't going to believe I've been clean for a week. Man, not one of my boys even dreamed for a second believe that I've been clean for a week, man. This is a record. And he said, you know, that's what he's saying to me, standing behind me in spy camp. But anyways, that's probably one of the worst memories I've ever had guiding, pretty certain. I got a few bad ones, but not that many. Oh, then there's that celebrity TV scumbag from the Yukon. That's another story for later. Ugh.